I know many of us often start a vegetable garden because we think we're going to save money in the long run. But what we often find is that we end up spending a whole lot of money on all sorts of things. It might be trellising, it might be soil, it might be garden beds. There's plenty to spend your money on in the world of gardening. Today, I want to show you a way of trellising your tomato plants at only a fraction of the cost of the built-for-purpose trellises that you buy at the nursery. My name is Jackie and welcome back to my channel. So today, the two materials that we are going to use is bamboo and steel pickets or star pickets, however you would like to call them. Now, these are 1.8 metre star pickets, and they're about $11 at Bunnings, which is our local big hardware store. So the bamboo actually came from my mother-in-law. She has quite a bit of bamboo and she's cutting it back all the time. So I take her offcuts. Well, I take some of her offcuts. She has so much that I can't use it all. But and I took this quite some time ago. It's actually been laying around in the yard for maybe 6 months because what I was going to use it for, I didn't end up using it for. And so even though it is degraded somewhat and looks like it might not be very strong, it is still very, very strong. So these are the two main materials that we're going to use, and we're going to use some wire and some pliers, and that's it. So let me show you what we're going to do. Okay, so these are my tomato plants. Now, even though we're coming into the start of winter here, these are still going really well. We have a really, really mild winter. These are Thai pink egg tomatoes. They're still doing really well, and so I'm going to keep looking after them until they turn up their toes before, when it gets too cold. What I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to put trellises along the line. So I've got 3 by 3 basically, and I'm going to put a picket here, a picket here, and a picket here, and a picket on the other side, and then run the bamboo in between the 2 pickets. So 2 pickets and 3 pieces of bamboo are going to do 3 plants. They're purpose-built tomato cages, I think they're called, that you get from the hardware stores and the nurseries. They are $32 each. So one plant costs you $32 for one of those tomato cages. Whereas this is going to be, so we've got about $11 for the per picket, so it's going to be $22 per 3 tomato plants. So this is going to be a significant difference in cost. So let's get into it. Okay, now first of all, I'm just going to tidy up my plants. Just because this is going to cut down the airflow a little bit. So I'm just going to tidy them up, and then we'll get into the trellis. Okay, now I'm going to put in the pickets. Okay, so I've got the pickets in. Now I'm going to put the bamboo across. I did just want to say, so these actually are a determinate variety. So they're a Thai pink egg tomato. They are determinate, but what I found last time I grew them was that they are very prolific. So they give a lot of fruit all at once, and they end up actually, because there's so much fruit, they end up breaking. So I didn't trellis them properly last time, and I ended up with a lot more disease and stuff because they broke and they were touching the ground everywhere. So that's why I'm actually trellising these. This would be a little bit harder if they were an indeterminate variety. You'd have to have a lot taller pickets, things like that. But because these are they don't get super tall, I'm able to use this method to actually trellis them. So I'm going to put the bamboo on now, and what I've actually decided, I was going to use wire to tie them on, but I actually, in my travels trying to find all the things I needed, I actually found some string, which I just thought might be a bit easier to use. So I'm going to tie the bamboo on with string. Four at the bottom. So the really handy thing about these pickets is that you can count up the holes just to try and get it level. Not to say that they're actually hit in level, but it'll be pretty close. Okay, now one thing I will be doing is actually cutting the ends off this, so I'm just going to do that now. Okay, so I am actually really pleased with how that's turned out. If I was more concerned about how it looked, I would use shorter pickets, but that could actually end up being problematic too, because you wouldn't have as many holes. So I'm not too sure about that, but it's worked really well. I've tied on the plants, and they're really solid. They're really safe feeling, and I put the bamboo on either side of the picket. I put one on one side and the other on the other side. I was actually thinking that I'd need to put 3 lines of bamboo, and I might end up putting a third run on one run, but most of them actually don't need it at this stage. And I'll just put the others on if they need it further down the track. Using the string was actually really handy. In the past, I've often used wire for stuff like this, and you just end up with bits sticking out. I have a small child. They're going to come into the garden, and I end up being worried that they're going to scratch themselves and poke their eye out or something. So using the string was actually a really good change in design. It was really easy. It hasn't actually taken me very long. I will definitely use this method again in the future. For me, with these determinate ones, this is definitely a winner, and I'm definitely going to be using these Thai pink egg tomatoes in the future because they do really well in my climate. So I hope you got some value out of this video. Let me know your ways of being resourceful in trellising your vegetables, and I'll see you next time.